Welcome to the 21st Century Man podcast. This is where we dive deep, chapter by chapter, into the 21st Century Man book.
That's right. And today we're looking at chapter 64. It tackles something huge, right? Work-life balance.
Absolutely huge. And the author for this chapter, Robert Bonfilio, he's a PhD, a psychologist, and executive life coach. So he knows his stuff.
Definitely. And he kicks it off with this quote from Rolla May, which is just, well, perfect. The human dilemma is the struggle between what we want to do and what we have to do.
Yeah, that really hits it, doesn't it? That tension. It sort of sets the whole scene for what we're talking about.
It really does.
So our goal here isn't just to, summarize. We want to really unpack Dr. Bonfilio's insights.
Find those practical tools he offers.
Exactly, the strategies, and pull out the key things that you listening can maybe use to navigate your own work-life balance, because it's tricky in the 21st century.
It really is. So Dr. Bonfilio starts by describing this really common scenario. You see these hardworking people, often men, providing for their families.
Right, doing the have-to-do part.
Exactly. But as all the demands pile up, work, home, everything, the balance just gets lost. And maybe worse, they lose sight of themselves.
Right.
He sees this across all sorts of jobs.
He uses a story to illustrate this, the story of John.
Yeah, John. Sounds like he had it all figured out initially. Fast track in finance, MBA, good auditor, happy guy.
Uh-huh. But then life happens.
Yep. First kid arrives when he's 33. Suddenly, no more pickup basketball games.
Yeah.
That time just vanished.
Okay.
Then a couple years later, 35, bam. Second child and a big promotion to VP. Kind of a double whammy.
Wow, more responsibility everywhere.
And the hours just exploded.
Yeah.
8-hour days became 10, sometimes more, plus the commute time.
So less time for family, less time for himself.
Right. Those gym workouts he used for stress relief, gone. Poof.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
And his job changed too. Less auditing, more managing massive projects, putting out fires constantly, pulled in all directions.
So by the time he gets home,
Kids are often asleep. He's exhausted, barely any energy left for his wife. He starts getting agitated easily, pulls back from friends.
and the coping mechanisms kick in.
Yeah. Poor diet, comfort food, maybe a bit too much booze just to wind down. The usual suspects when you're running on empty.
But on the surface, he looks successful, right? He made partner at 36, bigger house, kids in good schools.
All those external markers.
Yeah.
But inside, the cost was huge. We're talking 12-hour days, 6 days a week sometimes, plus that commute. That's like 84 hours just gone to work stuff.
That's staggering.
Totally depleted. His marriage was suffering, lots of quarreling. He was withdrawn, edgy, even showing signs of depression.
So what was the turning point? The chapter mentions a wake-up call.
And it wasn't work-related, interestingly. It was when his young son needed heart surgery.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That kind of crisis just
Yeah.
forces you to stop, right?
Mhm.
Take a hard look. He realized how much his family meant, how much he wanted to actually be there, be involved.
A real moment of clarity.
Painful one, but yeah. And then, kind of luckily, his boss noticed he was struggling and actually recommended a life coach.
Which turned out to be Dr. Bonfilio.
Exactly. And that opened the door to change.
So once that door's open, someone like John is ready. How does the change process actually start, according to the chapter?
Well, Dr. Bonfilio lays out a pretty clear process. First, identify the issues, then prioritize what needs changing, and finally create an action plan.
Seems logical.
But he emphasizes this absolutely crucial first step, like a prerequisite, and that's awareness.
Awareness. Just being aware that something's wrong.
Yes, but it's two parts. Awareness that something isn't working, and a genuine desire, a willingness to actually do something about it.
Yeah.
He credits Kirk Schneider, another psychologist, for this insight.
Okay, so you can't force change if the person isn't really ready or doesn't see the need.
Exactly. Without acknowledging the problem and truly wanting things to be different, none of the tools or strategies will really stick. It has to start there.
Got it. Awareness and willingness. So once you have that, what's next?
The next piece is figuring out the resources and support you need.
Yeah.
And this is where the chapter brings up something really powerful: accountability.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah, setting goals is one thing. Sticking to them is another beast entirely.
Totally. The chapter argues really strongly that trying to make big life changes all alone is just incredibly hard. Having someone there for encouragement, support, structure makes a huge difference.
And it doesn't have to be a paid professional, right? Like a coach or therapist.
Right. Those are options, obviously. But they can be expensive. The chapter suggests finding a trusted friend, maybe a loved one, to be an accountability partner.
How does that work exactly?
It's pretty straightforward. Both people set their own goals, could be about work-life balance, could be something else entirely.
Yeah.
Then you just schedule regular check-ins to talk about progress, challenges, and keep each other on track.
It sounds simple, but the chapter warns it's a big job being or having an accountability partner.
Oh, absolutely. It takes real commitment, time, energy, being organized. It's not just a casual thing if you want it to work.
And the change itself, it's not instant.
No way. It's a process. It's long-term. It looks different for everyone. There's no magic timeline. The key thing is investing in the process, showing up for it, and really aiming for progress, not some kind of perfect overnight fix.
Progress, not perfection. I like that. Okay, so you've got awareness, willingness, maybe an accountability plan. How do you actually start making the change? What's the first practical step?
Taking inventory. That's the first action step. Dr. Bonfilio stresses you need to understand your current reality. What are you actually experiencing? What feels like it's working okay and what's clearly not? Get that context first.
And it's not just about listing the problem.
No, not at all. The point of looking at where you are is so you can start thinking about where you want to be, envisioning that future, that best life for you. Then you can figure out the specific actions to bridge that gap between now and then.
Okay, makes sense. And the chapter suggests a specific tool for this inventory: journaling.
Yeah, journaling, which might seem a bit unexpected for some guys, maybe. Dr. Bonfilio notes that often, men especially, try to just power through emotional stuff rather than really reflecting.
Just fix it, don't feel it.
Kind of, yeah. But he argues that reflection, especially writing it down, creates space. It lets new insights pop up. It actually helps foster change.
How does he suggest doing it? Just free writing?
It's a bit more structured.
Yeah.
He suggests writing the story of your life, like the different stages, important events, your successes, your challenges, really detailed.
It's not about writing a masterpiece, though.
No, definitely not. The value isn't in the prose, it's in the act of reflecting on what you wrote, looking for patterns, like what's working, what isn't. What does this tell you about what needs to shift?
Did John, the guy from the story, find it helpful?
Yeah, the chapter says he actually found it easier than talking about things initially. It really deepened his awareness and helped him understand his own emotions better. So even if you're hesitant, the recommendation is give it a try.
Interesting. Okay, another tool mentioned is the 5 pillars. What's that about? Sounds structural.
It is. It's a way to structure that inventory and reflection. The idea is to identify like the 4 or 5 core areas of your life that are most important for your overall well-being. Your pillars.
There's just 4 or 5.
It forces you to clarify your major priorities, what really matters. And doing this often immediately shows you which areas you're maybe completely neglecting. Brings that awareness right up.
What were John's pillars?
He chose 4. Family dynamics, career, health, and he defined that broadly. So mental, physical, economic health, and then friends and community.
And for each pillar, you ask specific questions.
Yeah, a whole series. Like, what are the big challenges here? What's actually going well? What's not? How much time and energy are you really putting into nurturing this pillar? On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with it right now? What needs to change? And what are your goals for this pillar looking ahead 6 months, a year, 5 years?
Asking those honestly must be quite revealing.
Oh, for John, it was huge, especially with his family pillar. He saw he'd basically just checked out. He was withdrawn, wasn't spending real time with his kids, wasn't being a partner in his marriage. Work had just swallowed everything else.
And he saw the things he was missing out on.
Yeah, those unfulfilled dreams. Coaching his son's team, going to school stuff, even just simple things like watching football with his buddies. It all came into focus.
And did that awareness lead to action?
It did. He started small, realistic, like, okay, one specific activity with my son each week, one night a week set aside for friends. And he started working on his health again, Jim. Diet, cutting back the alcohol.
What about his career pillar? Did he have insights there too?
Yeah, he realized that the whole drive for VP, for partner, he lost sight of why, beyond just achieving it. And he also had to admit his stress was making him a pretty tough manager.
So the pillars exercise really helped him see the big picture, the cost of the imbalance.
Totally. He saw he was overwhelmed, disconnected from himself, and that his life, even with the success, just didn't line up with his values. It wasn't making him happy.
Which brings us back to that Rollo May quote.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was living almost entirely in the what I have to do zone, just grinding it out, completely losing touch with the what I want to do.
Okay, another really practical tool the chapter offers is looking at how you actually spend your time, using that 168 hours in a week framework.
Yeah, it's such a simple but powerful idea. They're only 168 hours. Where are they actually going? It forces an honest look. For John, remember, it was 84 hours just for work and commute.
Right, the 12-hour days, 6 days a week, plus travel.
But then Dr. Bonfilio adds this concept of psychological time.
Yeah, explain that again.
It's a time when you're physically not at work, but your head still is. Yeah. You're preoccupied, think about work stuff, stressed about it, not really present wherever you are. John figured that was another 10 hours a week for him.
Okay, so 84 plus 10. That's 94.
Then add time just getting ready for work, winding down after, maybe another 10 hours a week.
So now we're at 104 work-related hours, even though he's only at work for less than that.
Exactly. Then add sleep. He was only getting about 6 hours a night, which the chapter notes is clearly not enough for most people.
6 hours times 7 nights is 42 hours. Add that to 104. We're at 146 hours accounted for.
Out of 168, leaving just 22 hours per week.
Wow.
For everything else.
Wow.
Eating, exercise, family time, time with his wife, friends, errands. Everything crammed into those few remaining hours, mostly late at night. It's no wonder he felt like a stranger to his own kids.
Seeing the numbers like that is, well, it's brutal, but it's a really effective way to see where change needs to happen.
Definitely. That time inventory is a powerful assessment tool.
Okay, so we've assessed, we've reflected. The chapter then offers a tool for the moment-to-moment stuff, right? The APP framework.
Yeah, APP stands for Awareness, Pause, and Pivot. It's presented as this really practical technique you can use right in the middle of things in any part of your life to help you think clearly and choose your actions more intentionally.
Let's break it down. A is awareness.
Right. Awareness is tuning in to what's going on inside you, feelings, intentions, values, and what's happening around you. Asking yourself questions like, okay, am I feeling out of balance right now? Is this situation making me rethink my priorities? What really matters here? Am I spending my time the way I want to? What's getting in the way?
Okay, so you notice something's off or you're facing a choice. Then comes P for pause.
The pause is key. It's consciously stopping before you react automatically. Taking a breath, stepping back, reflecting on what your awareness just showed you, getting some perspective, considering your options, thinking about the choices in light of your values.
So you don't just react on autopilot.
Exactly. You create space. And then the final P is pivot.
Taking action.
Taking deliberate action. Based on the awareness you gain, the insights from the pause, it's choosing to act in a way that lines up with what matters most to you, even if it's just a small adjustment, a small pivot.
The chapter uses John and his family pillar to show how this works.
Yeah, it's a great example. His awareness really clicked after his son's surgery. He became deeply aware of how much he valued his family, but also how absent he'd been, how little connection there was with his kids, his wife.
Then he paused.
He sat with those really uncomfortable feelings. He didn't like it. He saw it didn't match his values. And that pause allowed him to think about choices. What could he do differently based on what he now knew mattered?
And the pivot was the action he took.
Right. He pivoted his behavior, started doing homework help, scheduling time at the park or movies on Sundays. He also recognized his wife's unhappiness wasn't just her problem, it was deeply tied to his absence. So he initiated couples therapy. He pivoted towards engagement, towards healing.
And again, the point isn't instant perfection.
Not at all. The chapter stresses using the APP without judgment, with self-compassion. It's a tool for guidance, not for beating yourself up.
And it takes practice.
Definitely. But you can start using it for small things throughout the day, just as a quick check-in.
So once you start making these pivots, making progress, how do you keep it going? Avoid sliding back. The chapter talks about upkeep and maintenance.
Yeah, it uses a car analogy, which is pretty clear. Maintenance is like getting the oil changed, rotating the tires, regular stuff you do to keep things running smoothly, prevent bigger issues down the road.
Okay.
Restoration is when you've skipped the maintenance for too long. Now you need a new engine, major repairs. It's much harder, more expensive, more disruptive.
So the message is, do the regular maintenance on your well-being, your relationships, because neglecting it leads to much bigger problems later.
Exactly. Consistent upkeep is way easier than major restoration.
Makes sense. Now, for a lot of people, navigating all this might feel overwhelming alone. The chapter talks about getting help, starting with life coaching.
Right. And Dr. Bonfilio, as a coach, explains the goal isn't for the coach to have all the answers. It's to help you discover, explore, and then live out what actually has meaning for you. They provide support, structure, help you find your own internal resources to make those changes, step by step.
What does coaching typically involve?
Usually weekly or maybe bi-weekly sessions, about an hour long.
Hmm.
Can be in person, video, phone, whatever works. The first few sessions are usually about digging into the challenges, figuring out what you want to change, setting some clear, concrete goals.
And the sessions themselves have a structure.
Generally, yeah. You might start with a check-in. How did things go since last time? What steps did you take towards your goals? What worked well? What didn't?
Okay.
Then you focus on the next steps. Maybe refine the strategy, figure out how to replicate successes, analyze what got in the way if something didn't work.
That non-judgmental accountability comes back in here.
Hugely important. It's not about criticism. It's about chipping away, focusing on the positives, celebrating small wins, working in small increments, asking questions like, what worked? Why? What were the obstacles? What could you try differently? What's the very next manageable step? How can we make this strategy even a tiny bit more effective?
And you leave each session with a plan for the time between sessions.
Yep. Specific steps to take. Could be something reflective, like journaling on a certain topic. Could be practical, like researching alternative job options or scheduling that family meeting. It's about building momentum through consistent action.
There's a great quote the chapter highlights here. We are not human doers, we are human beings.
Yeah, that one really cuts through, doesn't it? It's such a good reminder we have responsibilities, things we have to do, but we're also beings with wants, needs, desires, the things we want to do. And the challenge is finding a way to honor both. Giving ourselves permission to be human beings, not just human doers.
And reflection and awareness are key to that.
Absolutely central. Identifying what you truly value, what your priorities are, and then finding ways to live in line with them. That's the path to a happier, healthier life, according to the chapter.
Yeah.
It's really an invitation to explore that for yourself.
Beyond coaching, the chapter dives into a whole bunch of specific strategies people can use. Where does it start?
It really emphasizes meditation as a core strategy for building that crucial awareness and for self-care. It helps you slow down, be more intentional, more present, less lost in the mental chatter.
And there are tons of ways to get into meditation now.
So many resources, apps like Headspace, Calm, books, YouTube videos, audio guides from places like soundstrue.com. Group meditation can be great for motivation. Even movement meditation like walking meditation or Qigong. Find what resonates with you.
What about relationships? They often take the biggest hit with work imbalance.
For sure. So practical strategies here. Date night. Simple idea, but powerful. Dedicated fun time with your partner. Maybe start with a weekly template, but make it consistent. Tailor it.
And for the broader family.
Family meetings. Just checking in regularly. How are we doing? Is everyone feeling okay? Talking about balance as a family. And simple stuff, like committing to family dinners a few nights a week, can really help maintain connection.
And if things are really strained,
Family counseling is an option. Getting help, finding common ground, improving communication. The motivation is clear. You're nurturing something incredibly important.
what about just fun? Things for yourself?
Hobbies and avocations, super important. What do you actually enjoy? What sparks your interest? Joining a team, a club, taking a class, something totally unrelated to work. It builds enjoyment, counteracts stress.
Taking time out also gets a focus. Vacations, retreats.
Yeah, that bigger picture recharge. An annual vacation, maybe a retreat or workshop. It takes planning, resources, sure. But it's a powerful way to reset, reevaluate your balance. Think of people like Yuval Harari doing those long, silent retreats. There's real value in stepping away.
Planning that with kids is a whole other layer.
Oh yeah, you need support partner, family, friends, maybe camps or sleepovers. But finding a way to get that break is crucial.
There's also a suggestion for more regular time off.
1 day a week off the grid. Like really off. No work email, phone off as possible. Reconnecting with yourself, with people, with nature. Just recovering from the constant buzz of stimulation.
A full day might be tough for some.
Yeah, so maybe start with half a day. The key is scheduling it, protecting it, setting boundaries. You're available 6 days, not 7.
If you're trying these things but still struggling, the chapter revisits getting professional help. Beyond coaching, it mentions psychotherapy.
Right. Psychotherapy might be more appropriate if you're dealing with frequent anxiety or depression that's really affecting how you function. Sometimes these are linked to deeper repeating patterns, maybe from childhood. Resources like psychologytoday.com can help you find therapists.
It mentions different types of therapy.
Briefly, yeah. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, focusing on challenging those negative thought patterns. And humanistic psychology, more about exploring meaning, self-awareness. Reading therapist profiles can help you find a good fit.
And sometimes medication plays a role.
That's where psychiatry comes in therapy, potentially combined with medication if there's an underlying chemical imbalance or genetic factor contributing to depression or anxiety. The chapter also mentions functional medicine, looking at how physical health, like nutrition and exercise, impacts mental well-being.
And therapy isn't just individual.
No, family therapy or parenting classes can be really proactive ways to care for those relationships that often suffer first when work takes over everything.
What about group settings for support?
Group therapy is mentioned as really effective, often more affordable too. You realize you're not alone, you learn from others, you practice skills, you contribute.
And less formal groups.
Things like mastermind groups or men's groups, great places to talk specifically about work-life balance with peers, share solutions, get support. You could even start your own if needed. The big takeaway running through all this is that balance isn't something you achieve once and forget about. It needs ongoing attention, periodic check-ins, like maintenance.
So to pull it all together, the chapter gives us a kind of checklist.
Yeah.
Key takeaways for assessing and maintaining your own balance.
Right. First, ask yourself, am I motivated? Do I have the capacity? Am I willing to change? What support do I need? Then take that inventory. Write your story, reflect, think about the next chapter.
Look at your actual time versus that psychological time. Can you find even an hour a week for something mindful? Identify your key pillars, those 4 or 5 core areas, and rate how you're doing with each.
Try using the APP awareness, pause, pivot, and daily situations. Honestly assess what needs maintenance versus what needs real restoration.
And crucially, set boundaries with work. Make space for other parts of life. Try to live in line with your values. And remember that core truth, self-care isn't selfish. You have to take care of yourself to take care of others.
And finally, there's this perspective from Dr. Judson Brandeis, which is really helpful. He suggests thinking of work life not as a perfect balance, but as a pendulum.
A pendulum, constantly swinging.
Exactly. It acknowledges the struggle is ongoing, especially now, with phones always on, life moving faster, more competition. It's not a static point you reach.
That feels more realistic than aiming for perfect static balance. Life isn't a highlight reel.
Right. There will be times work has to swing to the forefront, but there also must be times you consciously pull the pendulum back, leave work behind mentally, emotionally, and focus on family, friends, yourself.
What's his advice based on that pendulum idea?
It's pretty down to earth. First, give yourself a break. This stuff is hard. Second, do your best to take care of yourself. Sleep, exercise, nutrition, because that builds resilience for the tough swings. Third, avoid self-destructive habits or major time sucks. He mentions cutting out binge-watching sports saved him like 5–10 hours a week.
Wow, that's significant.
And fourth, know your priorities. List your goals, what really matters, and focus there first. Life's short, he says, and it's easy to lose track. And finally, remember you're not alone. Everyone struggles with this pendulum swing.
So chapter 64 really gives you a lot to work with, from understanding the problem deeply with John's story to all these practical tools and strategies.
It really does. Awareness, accountability, journaling, the pillars, the time tech, the APP. It's a solid framework for figuring out where you are and how to move forward.
Plus all those concrete ideas for relationships, downtime, self-care, getting help. It feels very actionable.
Yeah, it empowers you to look honestly at your own life, see where that pendulum might be stuck, and gives you ways to start nudging it back towards what truly matters to you.
We've covered a lot, but there's even more depth in the chapter itself, so we definitely encourage you to pick up The 21st Century Man and read chapter 64 and the others for yourself.
Absolutely. And maybe just to leave you with a final thought, thinking about that work-life pendulum. What's just one small shift, one tiny nudge you could make this week to move it just a little bit closer to what matters most to you right now?
That's a great question to sit with. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into chapter 64.
And we hope you'll join us next time on the 21st Century Man podcast, when we'll be diving into chapter 65, Diseases of Despair.